And now the row over the aborted appointment of Griff Rhys Jones as Chancellor of Cardiff University has taken another twist. The court of the university, effectively the board of directors I suppose, refused to approve his appointment last week after they discovered the current Vice-Chancellor, the Nobel Prize winner Sir Martin Evans, was eligible for 5 more years in the role. Well, today a member of the court, Professor Brian J. Ford, has called for heads to roll. And Professor Ford joins us now. Good afternoon, welcome to the programme.
Good to speak to you, Gareth.
What would you like done then?
I'm terribly embarrassed. I mean, if there's ever an interview I've never wanted to give, this is the one. I'd be very happy to talk to you about all the great things that Cardiff has done, but it is just so grossly embarrassing. What has happened is that we actually had 2 senior members of the university, honorary members, you know, in positions that aren't salaried, but where they advise. We had Sir Donald Walters, who had served 5 years, and we had Sir Martin Evans, who had served 5 years. And the minutes of the council, that's the couple of dozen people or so who meet to look at what the university might do, the minutes of council don't deal with them in the same way, although they're in the same position. The minutes of council say that Sir Donald has another 5 years, and instead of saying that about Sir Martin, they simply say his 5 years are up, and he's being replaced by Griff Rhys Jones.
Did anyone think to query this?
Well, I think a lot of us, when the papers had come, had looked at it, but the one person who queried it, admirable chap, Professor Ron Eccles, and he said, how come that this matter is dealt with differently? Because Sir Martin has 5 years to run. And you could hear the intake of breath around the court as people thought, we never knew that, why weren't we told?
OK, who should have told you then?
Well, the minutes should have set it out directly. As it is, somebody in the university at the highest level has clearly taken it upon themselves to, as it were, spin things along a little bit in order to get the result that they wanted.
OK, you're not saying who that is. That's quite an accusation.
I don't know who it is, but I have written to the Vice-Chancellor because it is clearly at the highest level of the university, and I've written to Colin, the Vice-Chancellor, and I've said to him, I urge you to find out who exactly has done it, because, I mean, this is on record. It's in print. That's the embarrassing thing. In 100 years' time, some scholar's going to be laughing at it and saying, just look at how Cardiff is trying to fiddle its election procedures. And it brings discredit upon us all. Whoever has done it cannot possibly stay in office.
So just to clarify, you're saying that the rules were deliberately shielded, if you like, from the court, that the court was deliberately not told the rules?
Well, it's slightly worse than that, because although what you say is true, Gareth, when that was put, a couple of members of the court, who also sit on council, I don't sit on council, but a couple of council who were there actually raised their hands and added their voices, and they said, well, nobody ever mentioned to us that Sir Martin Evans was eligible for a further 5 years, or we'd have wanted him to stay.
Is there an element here that you'd quite like a Nobel Prize winner, but not a television comedian?
Well, that could be true. I dare say there are some elderly academics who would think to themselves, well, a comedian only known in Britain is absolutely no substitute for a Nobel Prize winner for a great university. I mean, yes, that's a valid argument, but I don't think it applies, because let us suppose that Griff had actually been the Chancellor for the last 5 years, and somebody was now proposing Sir Martin. There would have been just as much uproar. It's not a question of who the people are, but the fact that somebody tried to bend the rules, hide the truth, and twist an election in a way that really they have no right to do.
Sir Martin Evans is continuing, isn't he, in the role at the moment? We've been told it's a delayed appointment now for Griff Rhys Jones. Who do you think should actually, in the next 5-year period, be Chancellor of Cardiff University?
Oh, well, I have no doubt that the next 5 years it will be Martin. I mean, if in fact council were foolish enough as to bring back Griff Rhys Jones and put it before court would then be faced with a candidate who'd come before them previously with completely irregularly handled procedures, and court would say, well, we can't. It has actually spoilt Griff Rhys Jones's chances permanently of having an office like that. He's the innocent partner. He's a brilliant man, but I'll tell you one thing. One of the things I like most about Griff's recent output is his presenting of It'll Be All Right on the Night, a programme in which farcical cock-ups feature one after the other. Well, if he wants a really good one for the next series, I suggest he puts this one in, because this one comes top of my list.
Good to talk to you. Thank you. That's Professor Brian J. Ford, who's a member of the court at Cardiff University.